Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video and address something that I see in the beauty community, which is the assertion that Black beauty gurus are being racist when they tailor their content to Black people and when they call out instances of cultural appropriation or just call out white people for various things. So all of what I'm about to say applies to obviously more than just beauty gurus and this community, but basically racism is not the same thing as prejudice. Racism is when prejudice is bound to a system of oppression. We live in a system of white supremacy. That is just a fact. And I think when you hear that sentence, there are three reactions people have. The first would be agreement. You hear, we live in a system of white supremacy, and you think, I agree with that. That's true. The other two would be shock, because that feels like new information to you, and you're not necessarily immediately against that information, which just means that you are woefully ignorant and at the beginning of a journey that will last throughout your entire life of educating yourself about the world that we live in. That's also just a fact and not a personal attack. And then the third thing would be, you hear, we live in a system of white supremacy. That is a fact, and you react with indignation. And I think if that's the case, it just means that you're a dick, and I actually don't think anything will change your mind. If that's like the immediate response, I don't think you're going to adjust or take in new information, and the only course of action is really just to revolt against you. So I wanted to read a quote really quick from Scott Woods, and it says, "The problem is that white people see racism as conscious hate, when racism is bigger than that. Racism is a complex system of social and political levers and pulleys set up generations ago to continue working on the behalf of whites at other people's expense, whether whites know/like it or not. Racism is an insidious cultural disease. It's so insidious that it doesn't care if you are a white person who likes Black people. It's still going to find a way to infect how you deal with people who don't look like you. Yes, racism looks like hate, but hate is just one manifestation. Privilege is another. Access is another. Ignorance is another. Apathy is another, and so on. So while I agree with people who say no one is born racist, it remains a powerful system that we are immediately born into. It's like being born into air. You take it in as soon as you breathe. It's not a cold that you can get over. There is no anti-racist certification class. It's a set of socioeconomic traps and cultural values that are fired up every time we interact with the world. It is a thing you have to keep scooping out of the boat of your life to keep from drowning in it. I know it's hard work, but it's the price you pay for owning everything." We as holders of white privilege have so much to learn and change. Rachel Cargill, who is an incredible anti-racism educator, I once heard her talk about how she uses the patriarchy to put things into perspective for white women trying to understand the dynamics of racism, and I found that to be really helpful. So, for example, if you saw a cisgendered man teaching classes about feminism and the experience of being a woman, you'd be like, what? How could you possibly know what you're saying? You couldn't. And also, how would you feel if a man was profiting off of sexism? No, we shouldn't do that. For that reason, this video is not monetized. I know a lot of people love the book White Fragility. It was written by a white woman. It could very well have lots of good information, and I've heard plenty of people say that it does. But white people should not be profiting off of racism, full stop. Let alone the fact that it's impossible for us to be effective teachers in that arena because we just cannot have the lived experience. I can only relay information and direct you to qualified educators, which I urge you to follow up on. Read books written by Black women. I highly recommend starting with Me and White Supremacy by Layla Saad. There are so many resources available to us. Oh my goodness. Also, please do not reach out to the Black people that you know to teach you, because that just puts emotional labor on them that they don't need. There are Black Indigenous people of color who have signed up to the work of anti-racism, and you can compensate them for their time and for that education. Google, also incredible resource. At this point, we have to be pretty committed to our ignorance blankets to stay unaware of what's happening. We are all complicit. Me, you, everyone that holds white privilege. And our individual ideas about being a good person, caring about equality, and recognizing that racism exists have nothing to do with the indoctrination that we have been receiving since we were born through our education system, through the media, and approximately 1 million other things. So if you heard this and your reaction was, yes, I agree, then remember that mentally agreeing with the existence of racism does not absolve us of it. And it is our job to continually be educating ourselves so that we are not only using our resources and our voices and our bodies to fight this fight, but we are also working to shift our insides and our perceptions so that we can become less violent in our interactions interpersonally and in whatever method we're moving about the world. I just finished a 10-day writing prompt facilitated by Lisa Renee Hall on her Patreon. She's an excellent anti-racism teacher. It was very transformative. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to her Patreon in the description box. The list of things available to you to keep doing this work and to keep learning and shifting it's just endless. So there's really no excuse. If your reaction was to feel surprise and worry that maybe you've been in the wrong and you need to learn more about this, I urge you to educate yourself. Starting today, start with Me and White Supremacy by Layla Saad. You can download the audiobook and start listening literally right now. This is not a political or social trend on your feed. This is a life and death situation. And if you feel indignant and slighted, then I don't think that there is hope for your soul. All right, follow up with those links in the description. Keep educating yourself. This is not a temporary thing. This is an ongoing thing. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.